Alright, so this is going to be basically about retrofits, and I get a lot of questions lately about, oh, is it expensive, is it cheap, is it hard, is it easy? The answer to all that is yes. But what do you mean by that? Okay, the easiest way to put this is retrofits are as hard and as expensive as or cheap as you want to make them. And there's a couple photos here from when I did my builds on my Toyota and my F-150, and any build can range anywhere from $200 to thousands upon thousands of dollars. It all depends on how crazy you want to get. Like, the Toyota was a quad build, and that was a little more expensive because you have double the projectors, you also have double the ballast, double the bulbs, double the harnesses. So you add a little bit more to it. What is a retrofit exactly? You're taking a headlight like a halogen housing or your typical projector housing, and you're swapping in an HID projector or maybe an LED projector, depends on what you want to do. And a lot of people actually get a little intimidated by it because it seems harder than it is. And it all depends on what the actual housing is made or sealed with, mainly, because it can either be butyl sealed, it could be perma-sealed. And butyl is really easy to work with because all you gotta do is heat it up and it comes apart and it's no big deal. Perma-seal, you actually have to scrape out all the perma-seal and seal it back up with butyl. And a lot of the stuff here is like mini H1s, D2Ss, and whatnot. Threaded shaft or nut and bolt method. And what is nut and bolt or threaded shaft, you ask? Threaded shaft actually is a threaded shaft on the actual projector itself, and that is what you can actually use to mount it. Nut and bolt, there's holes around the perimeter of the actual projector you can use to mount it to the housing itself instead of using the shaft method. And it requires a little more work and a little more effort. The biggest question I always get to is like, why would you go buy retrofits? They're too expensive. They're not worth the price. Why don't you just do plug and plays? Because plug and plays blind the hell out of all oncoming traffic. They are irritating and they are annoying, and they're not designed to go on a reflector housing. Same thing when it comes to HIDs and a halogen projector. They melt the bowls, they burn them, you lose your output. And it's just dangerous and it's stupid. Why anybody would do that is just beyond me, because they think, oh, I'm going to put LEDs or I'm going to put HIDs instead of a reflector housing. It means more output. No, you lose your output because everything is in front of you on the ground, and it doesn't disperse or spread out like an HID would inside of a actual projector. That's one thing about it too, is like sometimes LEDs don't work out as well as HIDs in certain projectors. You can't like put LED bulbs inside of HID projectors and expect the same output. Sometimes it just doesn't work out that way. Why do HIDs work better inside of a projector? Because HIDs scatter light, and with the projector you can actually focus the beam where it needs to be. Such as like this quad build. This is my quad build actually on the Toyota. This is my output. This is just low beam, and it's just insanely bright. And if you look at this output from a D2S 4.0, and it's just nice and crisp and clear, and you get that little bit of blue color flicker. It's just beautiful. And that's just low beam when it comes to that stuff. High beam is just insane when it comes to this stuff. This is actually the output from my F-150 with CBI bulbs on a D2S 4.0. And there's a lot of projectors, and this is where it starts getting really expensive when it comes towards it. Like, you have Acme projectors, you also have the Super Acme, and those usually come with speedy starts and those types of ballasts and stuff as well. These are like the Morimoto 7.0s, which is another great projector too. And then you also have, like, this is the most common one I've seen too, and it's a really good projector. It's the Morimoto D2S 4.0. You have the FXRs as well, which is a really good nut and bolt projector, along with a lot of other ones like the RX330s. You can get better ballast too. You can get the Hellas, you can get the Denzos, you can get Morimoto ballast. And that's where it starts to come in too, especially with like the Mini H1 doesn't have as much support as like the D2Ss. There's not many people who actually make bulbs for the Mini H1s. It's usually Morimoto, and there's a couple other ones. D2S is an OEM bulb, and you can really get stuff from like Osram and Sylvania, and then Philips as well. You have the CBI, the CBH, the CBBs. You also have the Night Breakers. There's just a lot of support when it comes to like these two projectors, or mainly just the D2S system because it's OEM. And finding good ballast like Hellas and Denzos, it just works out, and you can spend not much money at salvage yards, get a great product, and you're good to go. And The big thing is when it comes to like projectors and retrofitting too, everybody thinks it's super expensive. You can do something like this for pretty cheap for $300-$400 depending on what projector you want to get and everything else. You can do chrome, and they're not that hard. You could do this within a weekend. Mainly aim them and you're done. Seal them back up. Or you can start going the route of this, where you start doing color morph. But once you start going this route with color morphs, the halos and the demon eyes, everything just starts getting so expensive. Especially when it comes to RGB stuff. And then you have like basic stuff like this, where you can just black it out and you can just do like a switchback halo behind the shroud. And that's when everything starts getting a little bit better. Or you can start doing crazy builds like this too, where this guy's got his switchback halos behind the shrouds are up in front. But then you also have the high lens here too, which is a good LED high beam that was made by High Lens Profile. But then you also have stuff like this too, where it's just paint match and nothing's really major. He's got, that's a Panamera shroud on there. Or you can go to stuff like this. This is a Super Duty type projector, which is a quad build, and that'll be more expensive too when it comes to actually having double the projectors. Or you can go to this where it's all color morph and crazy. And if that's your thing, awesome. But it's going to cost a lot more money and it's going to be a lot harder to build. Or you can do this stuff like this where it's just blacked out, black shrouds, easy peasy, no big deal. Kind of like what I did with the Toyota. So, in retrospect, a retrofit is only as hard as you want to make it, easy as you want to make it, and as expensive or cheap as you want to make it. So at the end of it, is a retrofit actually worth it? That's for you kind of to decide, because in my opinion, I love retrofitting. I think it's kind of an art, and I think it's cool that you can take something from just being basic and blah to making it your own unique details and your own cool design. And that's why I like it, and I also love the output of it, because it's just something I like. I always like to personalize my vehicles. I like how they look, and I like to be a little bit different from everybody else. So, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. It's just kind of a basic explanation when it comes to retrofitting. Nothing too in-depth. If you want to, check out the Facebook Headlight Junkies page. They will answer a lot of your questions when it comes to this type of stuff. There's a lot of knowledge and information on there when it comes to retrofitting and doing all sorts of other crazy stuff with your headlights. Thank you guys for watching this. And be sure to live life one cast at a time. I'll see you guys next time.